Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with Debbie G, and this is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about her spirituality gone wild, and we're also going to get into some tornado chasing. That was something we said we're going to talk about this week. But I have to start off with an email from Bridge, one of our listeners, who says, "Can I just say, obviously, I'm a huge fan. I just want to say that Debbie's saying when she gets down, brain goes to the idea this could be my last day on earth. I almost thought I was the only one who did that to pick themselves up. I just loved it and was like, okay, I'm not the only one. God, I love you guys and your talks. Thank you. You're all amazing." So you're making a mark already, Debbie.
I love this. I love you guys.
Good stuff going on here.
What's rock stars, man? Yeah. I got it. Who was that?
This was Bridge.
Hi, Bridge. Bridge, yeah. You are my new favorite. I'm your fan. Thank you. I love this. I love that. And thank you very much. And isn't that great?
It is.
If today were your last day, it actually is a cool Nickelback song if y'all want to look that up. But for real, if today was your last day, what would you do differently right now, this very second? And it's such... God, I'm going to tell you how real this is. I just want to send a huge prayer out to our friend Renee Popovich, who I just had on not long ago. Josie Herndon interviewed her, and they just gave her 6 months to live.
Oh.
And she's a big attorney out in Chicago, Illinois. But she also did this incredible artwork that she channeled through the angels. It's just amazing stuff. But, just hearing that, it always brings up my own mortality in that, she's my age. I'm 53. And it's just like, well, it doesn't matter what age you are, though. Age is not relevant. That's just a number. It's not relevant in our choices. It's not relevant in what it is that we're deciding to move forward and how that we're choosing to live. So
that's true.
I just want to, that's a huge thank you. And if I could ask everybody to please send our friend Renee as many healing and loving vibes as possible, I would love that. Thank you.
Consider that done. Absolutely. Yeah. And when you get news like that, that's one of those pieces that kind of hits you between the eyes. And on the other hand, we know there are plenty of stories of if the person really is committed, there can be healings. They do happen. So it really is going to come down to a large degree about, what her mindset is, what she wants to do. But yeah. If she wants it, hey, we're sending the vibes to help support her. And that's a good thing.
Yep. So in talking about living, that's really what it came down to. I'm going to just tell y'all something. Okay, look, today was a really busy day. I had been in meeting after meeting. And right before you text me, literally I laid on this is how I took care of myself. I knew I had this coming, but I had a lot of things going on. And I was like, I literally went and laid in my bed for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If you guys ever just had so much going on and your brain just goes.
Yeah, you have to shut down. Yeah.
It did that. It did that like that. It literally just like that. I swear. It's like, what the hell was that? No, seriously. And I was like, oh my God, that's not how I want to live my last day.
Right.
So I planted myself on my bed to just breathe. To just breathe.
Yeah.
I remember that the anxiety or stresses or whatever is all really useless other than showing me that I need to stop. And when I say stop, I mean I literally went and climbed in my bed, just laid there and was just breathing. Deep belly breaths in. Deep belly breaths. Not with your shoulders, not with your neck. Deep diaphragm belly breaths and oxygenating my cells. And then I got a message from Walt and I went, oops, that's enough of that.
So it was a very short session, but hopefully productive.
5 minutes, and I went, that's all it took, though. It was all it took. And now I'm like, I'm on overdrive of gratitude to be here, to be present with you. And I'm ready to talk about tornado chasing whenever you are.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. And sometimes we just need a reset. I kind of consider that a reboot. Like you just needed to restart the computer. And that's basically what you did. And how long does it take to reboot a computer? 5 minutes, maybe. Depends on how much stuff you got on it.
It was truly like an intention setting 5 minutes of just deep breath. And plus, I've also had some opportunities this week to speak my truth. Well, where I'm going to tell you, sometimes speaking my truth is hard. I don't like hurting people's feelings. Nobody does. So how do you speak your truth and make it not personal and also in kindness?
If you're asking me, the way I do that is I do it strictly in terms of I statements. I don't talk about the other person. I just talk about me. I talk about what I do, what I think, what I'm having, what I'm enjoying, what I'm not enjoying, that kind of thing.
I like the me approach. The perspective, it's just, this is from me. Well, one of the things I had to do is I'd have to open safe container. And to open safe container means being willing to say, I really need to have a conversation with you. And it might be uncomfortable. It might not be uncomfortable, but let's create a safe container. And what safe container is, everybody, this is a really great communication tool. Safe container. And I think we went over this last week.
We did.
So
yeah. But this is good. It's good to review.
I had to do it again. So it wasn't just once. I had to do it again. And this safe container, it's just about making the agreement to be in a non-judgment zone, to make the agreement to not be judgy. And so I had to do it again. And I stepped up and I thought, and what's happening when I'm doing this is I'm just finding that my relationships they feel whole.
Good. That's really good.
There's a substance to the relationship that feels good. So
yeah, that's healthy. That's when you get a feeling like that. That's a feeling of healthiness. That's a feeling of I've got myself in a good vibe place. The relationship's in a good vibe place. No matter what happens with it, I'm good with it. That's good.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I was on with David yesterday, and I was sharing. I was sharing my disdain at my butt right now, because my butt, like literally my ass. I mean, my butt.
I think we made that clear.
Because see, let me tell you what. I opened my mouth and I chewed and I swallowed and I sat on my butt and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked and I gained, like, I want to say 35 pounds, but I think it's closer to 40. And I'm 5'10". All right, I can get away with a lot, but I'm at my limit. So, so Steve Weber comes over with Victoria. They come over to my house. Oh, come on, Debbie, we're going to do this shoot. And I'm normally this way up. I don't have any long mirrors in my house. I was telling David this. I'm like, I don't actually stand in the mirror and look at myself much except my face or here up. Like, my bathroom isn't my full body. I have one over there. Like, if I'm going to go out, I'll check myself out. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we did a video where it was my full body. Oh my God. I watched this and I went, oh, I had like this turkey neck thing. I was like, oh my God, my turkey neck's like about to sting on its own. I'm not beating the shit out of myself. I promise you guys, this is not what this is about at all. This is me being very real. And I know you all have felt this. I don't care if you are a man or a woman. And if you are in your 50s, if you've ever just taken a side view at some things that can kind of start happening.
Oh, yeah.
Double. So
actually, that was what my experience was about a year ago. A little over a year ago.
Yeah.
Exactly the same experience. Yeah. And it's been an interesting trip back. I am making progress, but it's been an interesting trip back.
Yeah. I would like to say that did that I would love to tell you all that experience of that rude awakening be quite, oh, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love for you to tell you all that shifted everything right immediately, but it didn't. It didn't. What it did is it made me sit and think about it for a minute. I needed to beat myself up for about 24 hours, and I did a really good job. So after I was black and blue, feeling like Rocky, you know,
Well, at least you're thorough. That's good.
I'm gonna get through this. You know, down on the ground,
Adrian's.
Adrian. I gained 40 pounds. Coming back and just like, here's what it is though. And it was a really, okay, I'm going to give you all a couple of reasons why that my gaining weight is a trigger for me. Okay. I'm just going to be even more real. 21 years ago, I weighed 290 pounds.
Wow.
And I lost 150 pounds, and I've kept it off. I've kept it off all these years. So
good for you, by the way.
Thank you. And I love that. And I know a lot about health, and I know a lot about how to do it right. So when I'm being honest with you and saying I didn't gain COVID, I'd love to say that COVID is the reason I gained weight. And I'd love to blame it on something other than my mouth chewing the food and swallowing it.
Wouldn't that be nice if you could do that? I mean,
Jesus, man, so nice, but it's not true.
No, it's not. No.
And then everybody, well, you get to a certain age and it gets harder to lose. No, the minute that I stop eating and the stuff I'm not supposed to, it starts falling off. That's not true either. Y'all are just bullshitting yourselves. Just stop. Because I'm telling you, just stop. I also don't have a thyroid. I have thyroid conditions. I don't have one. Had radiation. And I'm telling you, just stop that. Just stop. Don't give yourself any excuses. Just own it. Just look and say, I ate that. And if you're going to eat it, at least love the thing you're eating while you're eating it, at least. But this all comes down to, honestly, it really is about this form of self-love. I have a golden heart, like I do. We've gotten
that already, by the way. We already know that. We can tell.
Thank you. It was really cool. That's one thing about myself. It's like I would date me. In a hot second. I'm single. I would date me. I'd date me faster than you can imagine because I'm like, I'd hang out with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do it all the time. I date me.
Sure.
And I don't care what I look like when I'm dating me. And I love me. So that's how I finally flipped it around and went, I really like who I am as a human being.
Good.
This little chubby chunky thing. Well, yeah, it's lovable and it's quite smushy, but
I love that word, smushy.
It's just mushy.
You give me a great little adjective to work with there because I'm thinking about my own smushiness and I've reduced the smushiness in half, which is an improvement, but I still have a little bit left,
Oh my God. And there is no secret to this. It's called loving yourself, I think, right where you're at. Did you change what you're eating? I mean, obviously.
Yes. Well, part of it was I'm not the only one in the family who likes the sweets. So Louise and I had to kind of agree, we needed to get off because she was even picking up more than I was. So, and when she, speaking of thyroid, she's also been dealing with a thyroid issue. And although she's making really good progress with hers, but at her last appointment, they weighed her and she did not like the results. So that kind of that convinced her more than anything I could have said. And she just decided, okay, yep, I agree with Walt. We got to start cutting this back. So we started cutting it back, and I'm seeing results. She's still not quite sure if she's seeing the results yet, but I'm seeing results. And we've only been doing it for 2 or 3 months, something like that. So it's not like we're deep into this. But
I love that. Yeah. May I offer a suggestion for her?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I would tell her to make sure that she's using iodine. I can send you some links, but iodine is a really big thing with our thyroid, and there's a lot of other things. I actually had radiation; it's gone, so I don't have one at all. But I still know that there's some iodine and there's some other things that are really super important for our system bladder. Now, I'm not telling you all to go take anything. I'm just telling you what I do.
Sure,
So
yeah.
I use iodine and I use bladder, and I'm thinking of going into sea moss, like checking out sea moss. And I'll tell you why. Sea moss has 92 of we have 102 minerals in our body, and sea moss has 92 of those. So when you're juicing, or if you would, when you are eating at a more healthy rate, if you're putting the minerals into your body, then your body's not needing the nutrients. You see, hunger is water and needing to be nutrients. Most of us have decided that hunger means I need to chow down on something.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just habits, belief systems. I mean, there's countries where they've never even heard of sugar.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
I don't know where they are, but I'm sure they're there. Probably some like cute little tribe in Africa that we've never heard of, that I'm just like, I mean, but seriously, like there's some places where diet, they're in Africa actually, that some of these tribes have got it down. Not only is they the most compassionate tribe in Africa, which is awesome, but there's also the fact that they have these diets that are that are from the earth. Period. So I think we all kind of really do know what to do. It's just this Western society. I am a pure example of Western society.
Sure.
I am from Southern California, and I was talking about this last night. We love In-N-Out. In-N-Out Burger, Walt.
Oh, right.
Is In-N-Out Burger. Now, there's nothing right about this, ever. But anybody who's from California, even if you leave, you come back. Oh, first thing you want when you get off that plane is you want an In-N-Out burger. This is how our society, we're so trained. I love you, In-N-Out, because we're so trained. Like, we have to have that. And I said, I'm not even sure it's the whole burger. I think it's the experience that you have to sit in line.
Sure.
And yeah, and in fact, if you're not sitting in like a 2-block line, the experience is defeated. Because I know when I've been to In-N-Out and there's no line, I feel like I cheated.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
No, so I think it's the experience of the line. I don't know. Anyway, it is just
well, it's true. I mean, all the stuff that surrounds the things that we choose regularly become habitual. The whole experience becomes habitual, and that's really what you're describing. You're describing the habit of that. Yeah. And once the habit gets going, you have a lot of momentum to overcome to get that habit going the other direction.
I don't like to be uncomfortable.
I don't think anybody does.
Simple. I am a foofy. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
I shouldn't say that. I can think of one person who, he doesn't want to be uncomfortable, but he appreciates it a lot.
Who?
My friend Joel Elston, who used to be a co-host on the show.
Joel, Joel.
Yeah.
Why does he sound? Yeah, I've seen him. He's cool, man.
He's really cool. Yeah. And the reason he takes that position, and I kind of warmed to this position, is that you don't really do any growing until you're not comfortable.
Yeah, that's true.
It's one of those annoying facts of life, it's one of those things that just kind of won't go away despite all your desire to make it go away. It just doesn't want to go.
So the appreciations and being uncomfortable, but I'm just being real about it, but I don't necessarily like it. I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, the Princess and the Pea.
Yes. That was you. By the way, I learned something else. I didn't know you were so tall. I didn't realize you were 5'10". You're a good-sized woman there. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got it good now.
Yeah.
I'm really good. Yes, I'm big and beautiful today.
You're the closest of any of my co-hosts to my height. I'm 6'8".
My son is 6'7".
Yeah, so that's like, I'm used to dealing with people who are 5 foot to 5'4". So this is
cute little
they're wonderful. I love them.
They're like little teacups.
Little teacups. I won't repeat that to them. But
they're like these cute little teacups. Oh, look at and actually, well, this is really like part of the whole being really tall, really big, and I'm not talking about chunky, wonky, fatty. I'm talking about just being a big person.
Yeah, right.
I was the tallest girl in kindergarten.
And
I was the tallest girl pretty much always up until about 16.
Yeah.
And they finally started getting bigger. But I was Sasquatch and Bigfoot, and I do have a big ass foot. That's not true. When I roller skate, I have farther to fall.
I know the feeling.
God, right? I mean, seriously, I do want to roller skate again. Everybody else see those out there just kind of like cruising, and I'm just like, yeah. Okay, so my goal is to get myself at least strong enough to go back to roller skating. But back to being tall, my boys face it too because they're 6'4" and 6'7", and my granddaughter is 8 years old, and she's almost 5 feet.
Wow. Yeah, she's grown quick.
Right?
Yeah.
So loving ourselves, I think you and I we're from the land of gargantuans.
Yes.
We'll have to tell you about that sometime. We're not really from the earth.
Well, I can tell you this. You're familiar, I'm sure, with Tall Clubs of America, right? Because that's something that only tall people are aware of. No, you're not familiar with that one? Oh, okay. Well, I'm one of the few. But anyway, it's a club. You would actually qualify because the minimum heights are 6'2" for men and 5'10" for women. So you're in. But I actually went to a club. And one of the things that they do at a lot of the club meetings is they'll measure to see, especially if it's your first time, they'll find out, where are you? And I was the tallest person at a tall club meeting. I mean,
God bless your soul. I love that.
Yeah.
You and my son are like almost neck and neck, though.
Is that? Yeah. Well, yeah, 6'7". I mean, he's Michael Jordan's height. So yeah.
Isn't that rad?
Yeah.
So now he has a size 16, almost 17 foot.
Oh, I'm nowhere near that. I'm size 14.
Okay. So my boys were 16 by the time they were 16.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So here's the beauty of that. So I think that we know the extremes. Mm-hmm. We are so far into the extreme, and I think that we chose to come to the earth like this just so that we could step into a space of I love myself no matter what. And it was because being a woman, I always looked at all these cute, dainty, cute little petite teacups with little tiny hands, and I mean, dude, I could reach over an octave on a piano.
Yeah,
these are
that's one of the advantages of being tall. You have big hands. I mean, I was a piano player too. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, just. Yeah. I mean, we can shred it. That's a cool thing.
It is.
There's lots of things that I can reach. We can get stuff out that y'all need little chairs for. I'm sorry.
My wife does that all the time. Walt, can you come in here and get this off the top shelf of the closet?
How tall is your wife?
5'6" when she's really standing up. That's the way she explained it to me the first time we talked on the phone. When I stand up straight, I'm 5'6", she says.
When she stands up straight, oh Lord, help me. Oh Lord. I'm just like seeing them. I mean, that's pretty, but your height, like, actually, I think that's pretty cute when you have like really tall and a little teacup wife. That's so adorable.
Well, it was a challenge at first. It's gotten to the point where after the first couple of years of marriage, we didn't even think about it anymore. I mean, there have been occasions where Louise said, I just noticed once again something I haven't thought about in a while. You're really quite tall, but I hadn't thought of you that way. And that's the way it gets into. You get to a space where it's not even part of the conversation anymore. It's just
totally. It really
except when something has to come off the top shelf. Other than that,
that, and when it comes to the car, like Christopher. Yeah, when it comes to the car, and he has to be in the car for a long time and all that. But it still also goes back to just accepting yourself in the way that you are.
It is, yeah.
There was no way I was going to get my legs cut off so I could be shorter.
I've actually made that offer to people. I've had people tell me that they wish they were tall like I was. And I said, well, if you can figure out a way to surgically remove the height without hurting me, you can have it. It's yours. No one's figured this out yet, but it's a standing offer that's out there.
Yeah, no, I think you're, and this is where it's so wonderful because you're perfectly perfect the way that you are, and I'm perfectly perfect the way I am, regardless of the life we were. Okay, back to the conditioning. We talked about the in and out. It was not a plug for you, in and out, though. I love you.
It sure sounded one, but
I know, okay. But it just wasn't. But this is another comparison. Mm-hmm. Comparison to behaviors and patterns and things like that, and men and women both looking at the stars and the magazines and the this and the that, and to be these things. It's and then to learn how to not be in comparison but rather compersion,
What is
because
that?
compersion.
Okay. Hadn't heard that.
All right. Yep. We're going to talk all about compersion right now.
Okay. All right.
So the opposite of comparison or competition.
Okay.
Compersion. Compersion is a real word. And this word means to be in celebration of others' accomplishments and achievements.
Oh, nice.
For an example, if you see a baby and that baby takes its first steps, you are celebrating. Oh my gosh! Oh, look at that! Oh my God! Look what you just did! You are in a complete state of compersion.
Okay.
compersion. Compersion.
I learned a new word today. Okay.
So, what I am saying and encouraging is, if you like I am, if I can be in joy and elation for your accomplishments and for who you are, in a beautiful state of compersion, celebrating you, I'm not thinking about comparing myself to you. I'm not thinking about, well, what the hell did that happen for them? I've been working all this time. What the hell?
That doesn't really come into it. Yeah, that's outside the conversation.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Because the competition thing just got completely squashed.
Right.
Because you're already and mind, heart coherent with celebratory expression to that person that probably really needs it. Because when we do have an accomplishment, it's so much fun to share and say, oh, you're not even going to believe this. You're going to be so excited about this. I'm so excited. Well, maybe you'll be excited, but hey, check it out. And to have somebody come back and instead of just doing, oh, that's really nice. Instead, having them, if you're one of those nice that goes right through your nose when you say it, just stop. And instead you're going, oh my God, that's so awesome.
It's a different feel.
So I try that, get back with me and tell me how that's working for you. Yeah. And honestly, it is a life changer. It's a different form of expression it's a different form of expressing gratitude too.
Well, what you're really doing is you're getting yourself excited about the things that you should be excited about, rather than just being lackadaisical about the things that you're excited about or should be excited about.
I have another secret for you too.
What's that?
If we do, in fact, practice this, because I do, from my heart, I will watch and see all kinds of manifestations continue to open up in my own life.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. If I go into comparison, I go into lack mode. If I go into lack mode, I'm going to be sitting there with a thumb in my mouth going, I didn't get it out. I would. Victim syndrome, man. Victim. Hey, Walt, have I ever told you about the emergency Butthurt kit?
No. I can hardly wait, though. Tell me about it.
I'll tell you all about it. So, this is for anybody. If you all have this friend, and I know you have that friend that's just fault finding, complaining, whining, they're in their victim syndrome. Victim syndrome, and I have to just shift my voice when I say this. Victim syndrome, it's the VS. It's almost like the VD. It's catchy. You want to be careful. So we had to develop this system because all you out there with this victim syndrome, not to belittle your experience, we do understand quite well. But we developed the it's the victim emergency Butthurt kit. I'll tell you what, it comes with a special hemorrhoidal pad to sit your butthurt ass right down on, and you can sit right there with it. It's some tissues for your issues. And
I love it.
And you get a pad with a pen and paper, and we're even going to make it a BOGO. Buy one, get one free, so you can get one for yourself. Because if you notice it in your friend, you got the VS too. I told you it's contagious. You got to be careful with that shit.
I love this. This is great.
So, and I say that because if you aren't in compersion, you're in victim syndrome mode. Is there a savior? I love you, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's asking, is there a savior syndrome?
Savior syndrome. I think so. I think there is SS, the savior
SS.
syndrome. I love that, dude. You rock. You're so cool, Jeffrey. Yeah, it's called you. You are the savior. You are through our at one moment with source. Can I please throw that in? I don't ever take. I'm a spark of the divine. I am and we are all sparks of the divine. You, Jeffrey, are a spark of the divine, and a walking savior syndrome. Love that.
I like that.
You want to hear?
By the way, something I wanted to tell you about, because you shared that cool stuff about dealing with thyroids through minerals and so forth.
Yeah.
I want to share some good news that you haven't heard. Some of our listeners have already heard, but you haven't heard. My wife just went off her thyroid medication on doctor's orders, and she's getting blood tested, and she may be able to stay off of it.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. What did she do?
This has been after about 2.5 years of dealing with this thing, including a number of visits to the endocrinologist, where the endocrinologist said point blank, you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life, or you're going to have to do the radiation, or you're going to have to do one of those alternatives. And every time we listened to him, we walked out of the office, looked at each other and said, nope, not happening. And then we went home, and she's been mindful, basically. She's been working the law of attraction. She's been consciously creating. And she's also been taking real action steps, making changes in diet, making changes in behavior and so forth. But primarily it's been a thought game, changing the thought process around.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. She was up to not the highest dose you can take of the methimazole, but she was at her peak, the highest that she reached when he said, you're going to be on this for the rest of your life. I thought maybe you might have a chance before. You have no chance of being off it now. And that was a year ago.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, so. because yeah, I love this because she knows what's up.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of her.
I'm proud of her too. Let me tell you, we're excited. I mean, we're waiting for she just had the blood work done. We're waiting for the call from the doctor to confirm that she can stay off the drug, which is, really, really cool. But yeah.
I love that. I am, well, the thing, and look at you, Jeffrey. Like a savior.
I don't feel like a savior. I feel like more like a helper, but I thank you for the recognition.
I got you. And honestly, I would be very playful with how I was saying that, but yeah, I think I agree with this 100%. I think I totally agree with it 100%. However, well, no, not however. I just agree with it. I think it's cool.
Okay, that's cool.
Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, Walt. Y'all and anybody else. Y'all want to hear about tornado chasing and why you need all this?
Yeah, you promised that last week, so we really have to bring that in. Otherwise, we're going to get letters. So yeah, tell us about it.
Okay, so back in the day when I was a younger child, just kidding, not joking. So back when I was,
if it was back, you were younger. I don't care how long ago.
I was younger. Younger.
Yeah,
a bit. So this is back when I was with my previous partner, Dennis, and he was so much fun, and we were into watching the Weather Channel. Well,
that's an unusual pastime, but that's all right.
Watching the tornadoes. We were watching the tornadoes. We were watching the sea. He got me fascinated by the entire event of weather, and we were talking about it one day, and he goes, how about tornado chasing? I'm like, yeah.
She just jumps right in 2 feet.
Let's go. Well, he knew me at that point. We'd been together for like 10 years. So he's like, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So
I can hardly wait.
So we start planning a trip based around the weather and patterns, and we'll probably do this like June, I think it was that time of year, or May or something.
Yeah.
So I get a phone call one day, and he's at work, and he's like, hey, they've got this weather system and it's blowing in, blah, 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 blah. You ready? I'm like, yeah. So this is not what we planned. This was totally not at all what we planned. So you guys, this has a really big moral of the story in it, I promise you.
Okay.
So we take off, we rent a car, we buy the insurance. We start trekking off, and we're going through Texas, and we're following the storm, and we do finally find it. And it is in Kansas, of all places. I swear to you, I was Dorothy. And
I was waiting for the Wizard of Oz reference, so that's good.
I was so Dorothy. I just didn't have a Toto with me. But at that point, so, oh my God, it was crazy. So we're driving through, the hail's coming down, and I do have video of this. The hail's coming down, and it's pinging.
Oh yeah,
pinging the car, and I'm like, man, I'm from Southern California. You know, I'm in fascination at the power of our universe, at the power of this weather. And so he's driving, I'm laughing. I am laughing at hearing the hail's coming down, lightning's going, the water's rising faster than, I mean, we're going down the street and it's just like splitting the seas. Okay. And I'm cracking up, and he's over there. I think maybe we better go find somewhere to, like, and I'm like, well, hey, if we're gonna die, we're gonna die with our boots on, baby. Let's just go. And I got my Metallicas going, man. You know, master. You know, I'm serious. And he's just like, no, we got to listen to the weather report. I'm like, no, we need some Pantera. You know.
Oh my God.
Cowboys from hell. I'm serious, because I love my rock and roll, and I'm like, this is just so rock and roll. The sound of the sounds that are happening are crazy. It is,
I imagine,
just like, wow.
Well, plus you're in a major, we'll talk about being in a vortex. You're in a major energy vortex when you're that close to a tornado.
We were really close. We pull over, and now we're like, okay, literally the water's coming up on the car so hard. It's like, we don't want the engine to bog. So we pull over, and we're just going to let it go. And I'm kicking it. At the video, you'll see it. My feet are up on the dashboard. I'm just chilling, going, isn't this rad? I mean, it's just like, I have no fear about any of it, because I'm just like, if I'm going down, I'm going down with fun, period. Remember, if this was your last day, what would you do? You got to live, right? So I'm just like totally thrilled. So, all right, now the tornado, it starts to subside, and we go on and we continue to drive. Now, mind you, it is literally, it is a vortex of energy. When you're up that close and you can see that sucker, man, it is so powerful. You respect that, because it's just like, wow, Mother Nature is something to respect, I promise you. So then, as we're driving and we're just driving off into Kansas, off into these wheat fields and everywhere. There's some pictures on Facebook where I'm laying out in the wheat fields, and it's fabulous, right? I'm just like feet in the air, and and it's gorgeous. So here's what winds up happening. Well, it's like all of it just goes away, all the storm and that intensity, that energy, that angry sky that's just to this glorious, gorgeous, only God, source, whatever you call it, I don't even care what anybody calls it, God sky of God's beauty that's just breathtaking.
Yeah.
The clearing, the sunburnt orange sky as the sun is setting, and it's just incredible. So here we are. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the middle of nowhere, and I'm respecting and loving and appreciating the smells and the touch and the everything and the sounds. And then Mother Nature calls me, and I have to tinkle. Okay. Now,
well, it's a delayed effect, is what that is. It took a while before it set in.
Oh, well, no, it happened during the storm too, but that at least we were still cityfied, so I could at least find a restroom. Now we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
There's the lightning storms are so cool in the evening. The skies light up. And here I've got to tinkle. And Dennis is like, honey, you're going to have to just go. And I'm like, Remember we talked about the Princess and the Pea, remember?
Yes, okay. That's right.
Now,
this is an interesting contrast, by the way.
Now I got a tinkle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, geez, Jiminy Crickets. And I love my water and my iced tea. And I'm just like, I'm doomed. I have to do this. So he finally pulls over in this dirt road and this big fields everywhere. There's nothing around. There's some trees.
Though. Nice. At least you had some trees. In Kansas, that's a rare thing. So you're actually in a good place.
He found me trees, which I was really thrilled and grateful about the trees. But now I was scared. I'm like, Dennis, something's going to eat me. And I just don't know about this. And he goes, honey, there's nothing's going to eat you. Just go do your thing. All right. Just fine. So I go off to do my thing. Now he left the lights on for the car so that I could at least see because it was getting pretty dark and there's nothing out there. You can't see anything. Kansas on a dark night is dark. Yeah, it's real dark. It's just dark. It's scary too because look, I know I heard some rustling over there in the trees. Okay. I know I did. They were probably more scared of you than you were of them, but it's a point. Well, so let me tell you, I swear to you, I thought I was going to get eaten. So I started my way back. This is a true story. And I'm just going to tell you, it's not even embarrassing to tell you anymore. This thing was going to eat me. I saw it. I heard it. I'm walking back. And I went quite a distance because I'm just like a girl. And there's this thing following me. And I faster. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to freaking eat me. And this whole time I'm starting to panic for real. Oh my God. So I get back and Dennis is like, what the hell is wrong? And I'm like, this I don't see that. And I mean, it's going to eat me. Dennis, help me. Oh my God. This thing's going to eat me. And he goes, what is going to eat you? What? And all of a sudden I turn to point to him and realize that that's my shadow. Oh my goodness. I was like, oh, oops. He's rolling. I can understand. I'm literally terrified. Oh my God, I'm going to get it. I mean, the contrast here is stunning because in the middle of a tornado, a deadly element of nature, you're laughing and you got your feet up, but you go take a pee and your shadow scares you. I mean, that's quite a contrast. I felt pretty safe in this car and I'm like, whatever, but no, I'm out. Look, I had bare booty out in the woods. I'm pretty I didn't know what could come. Now you know. You found out. What I found out is I had found that my shadow was going to eat me. Scared the daylights out of you. Jesus. So, needless to say, I that was like when you say don't be afraid of your own shadow, it's real. The moral of the story is please don't be afraid of your own shadow. And tinkle in the woods. It's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. If you go tornado chasing. See, that's not the way it would work with most people. Most people, they would be peeing in their pants over the tornado. You were peeing in your pants, or not in, but you were peeing after the tornado. And that's when you were scared, which is really, I mean, that's not the normal way of things. Not normal. That's not the way most people react to that kind of thing. Well, no, but true. I swear to you, this thing was following me, though. I know it was my shadow now, but I'm not playing. Well, you were right. I was really scared. I was scared to death. I'm like, ah! But I've got more stories, y'all. Just remind me to tell you about the time I went hiking down the Palos Verdes cliffs to go shoot some photos, because taking photos is like my favorite thing. One of my first businesses ever was God's Beauty, and I love to capture scenery. That was one of the reasons Dennis and I one of the reasons we wanted to go tornado chasing, and all of this is because we were into photography, scenic photography, and it was a pastime. It was just a hobby, and so that was one of the things. And just remind me next week, I'll tell you all about hiking down the cliffs at Palos Verdes. Okay. I wasn't scared of any shadows on that one. Thank God. That's good. Well, you know, you had the experience. You were done with that one, so that was all right. Well, totally.
One thing I do need to get you to tell us a little about, because you promised last week, and if you don't do it this week, then we'll have, or one of us will have broken your promise. I'm not sure which one, but you were going to tell us a little bit more about. Okay, yeah. Well, you drink the water. I'll do the talking for a moment. You're going to tell us more about spirituality gone wild, because I mean that's your thing. That's what you give like the majority of your time to, and you got quite a thing going on there. I've seen like pieces of it, but give us like the broad outline. What all is going on there? There's a lot going on.
Ton.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where do you want me to start? So, Jesus.
I don't know. The beginning is the
Literally.
best thing I can
Thank
think
you.
of to think of. You know.
So many moons ago, I had this great friend named Bob Miller, and I love Bob. He's no longer here. And we were talking about aliens and angels and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, spirituality's gone wild. This is crazy. And he goes, what'd you say? And I'm like, spirituality's gone wild. I'm like, hmm. So I got
You
this
like
down.
that?
Yeah. And then I just, there was this, I saw this, having this platform where people who are doing great work like yourself can be seen and heard. That was one of the aspects to it. Then I just sort of kept going, and now we have all these co-creators, and we have the Untamed Club where you can learn emotional intelligence and gratitude alchemy courses, and the Miracle Makers Club, and David Strickle's Taya boot camp. Not the boot camp, but the master classes are back there. We have all kinds of great stuff in our Untamed Club. That's that. I also do, right now I'm working on a really large event with um, the owner of Hemp Incorporated out in Arizona. So we're doing a big 420 bash that's actually going to be planting 2,000 hemp seeds
Wow.
in Kins community, which is near Kingsman, Arizona. This is really cool. It's for veterans, and so it's a self-sustaining property. So that's something else that SGW is doing. And I have a Grateful Living magazine, and Marianne Williamson was on that, and
Wow.
James Twyman's on our new one coming up.
Nice.
And I'm
Very good.
excited. Jonathan and Andy Goldman were just on, and I love them. And in fact, go to healingsounds.com, Jonathan and Andy Goldman. And if you have an Alexa, just say, Alexa, play Jonathan Goldman. And oh my God, you could just go right into meditation no matter where you're at. It's just fabulous. I love his work. Oh my gosh, for sound healing, it's number one. Spirituality Gone Wild is a place for you to remember who you are, and that's it. That's what it is. It's where I invite you to explore every aspect of you, and invite you to learn how wonderful that you are. Remember how wonderful you are. We
That's
all
really
have
good.
we all have our own harmony, our melody. And if
Mm-hmm.
each one of us are tuned into our own melody, together we create this ginormous harmony. We've got the
That's true.
angel, yeah. And I always say that God is the conductor. We are an orchestra of one. And when we are playing in
Well, that's nice.
each our own melody, we do have that kind of harmonic capability in this world, and the
Mm-hmm.
harmony in the music. Well, let's just take a step back and look at nature.
One of my favorite things.
These little clips, and you put them on leaves and hook it to a speaker. I'm not sure. I don't think you need much technology, but a little bit. That what happens is that you get to hear
Mm.
the vibration of the plant makes
Wow.
a sound from the leaf.
I never tried that. That's
It-
interesting.
Look it up on YouTube. I did. It's there.
Mm.
Sound itself, we are sound, vibration, you see?
Yeah.
When we talk about the law of attraction and you're talking about aligning yourself, you're aligning yourself with the frequency, like tuning a radio station.
Yeah.
I like this. Ooh, I like that. Tune it a little more left, turn a little to the right.
I
Find
like the
your
way you were
sound.
describing that a moment ago too, because we tend to think of it as more of a metaphor, but we're talking about something, an actual physicality here.
Oh
This
yeah,
isn't
no,
just a
this
metaphor.
is science.
This isn't just a woo-woo thing.
No,
This is actual vibration going on.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely 100%. I am here to show all of you that without your dark, you wouldn't know your spark, that there is another way to do this. In my life, I've had the gracious opportunity to experience a lot of trauma. huge.
Mm-hmm.
From we talked about, I mean, I'm not even going to go there. It's not, I don't need to go there. I can tell you that I have. And that gives me a compassionate heart to understand you, which also is a really good thing because then I can call you out because I call myself out. So it's
Yeah.
just like,
When you've been there.
that's why people love to chill with me
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I love you enough to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I love me enough to tell me the truth. Love yourself enough to tell yourself the truth. You
That's
know
a big
the
deal.
truth. Yeah, because you know the truth.
Well, not only do you know the truth, I mean, you may not be allowing yourself to know the truth. You do know it, but it's even more than that. Especially if you're in a place of not allowing yourself to know your own truth, you're blocking it, you're burying it, you're digging it, you're digging a deep hole and pretending that's all covered up and that it's not there. And it has a nasty tendency to come back and insist that it's there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it does that, that's when life gets out of balance. So it's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal to have that awareness of the wholeness of who we are, not just the parts that we like, but liking the other parts. Learning to like the whole thing, the whole package, regardless of what's in the package. And an interesting thing happens in the process because the more that we appreciate all of who we are, the more we find that stuff that we previously labeled as not so good stops being not so good, which is an interesting thing. It's not, it seemed originally like it was an objectively not so good thing. And then it changed in our perception simply because we started thinking about it differently. And then we end up often making changes to improve it even. And now that thing that was so difficult to change before is no longer difficult to change because we don't think of it as difficult anymore.
I love this.
It's just, it's what mind shift does. That's exactly what mind shift does, right? I mean, you've been through some, I mean, when you told us how you lost, what was it, 150 pounds, you went through some serious mind shift to do that.
Big.
That's not a small one. That's a big one.
Yes. It was,
And it's not just one that you make one day and you're done. That was like an ongoing mind shift.
Yep. And then after I lost all the weight, because I'd had 2 kids by that point, and after I lost all the weight, well, I decided to have a breast reduction because I was a natural E. And this is, you guys are gonna love it. She screwed up, left me a size A. They were gone.
My God.
This is all, I have all the photos and this is all going to be in a book one of these days.
Oh my God.
I woke up, my ribs were higher than my breasts. Well, I didn't have any anymore. And so anyway, needless to say, after that, then I had to have a hysterectomy and got a staph infection and almost died. So I couldn't fix the issue yet. Couldn't have that happen. No, I was 4 weeks in Cedars-Sinai, dude. No mouth or food, no water or food by mouth at all. I dropped to 120 pounds. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, that's ugly. I have photos of that too.
Well, especially for a woman who's 5'10". I mean, that's a severe weight.
Oh, it was so bad. And I don't remember a lot, but what I can tell you is that when I say if today were your last day, I know personally what that feels like, that could be.
Yeah.
It's just, and I've had a lot of other things too. That's just a little tease. So, and I do what I do not to tell you that you're not doing it right or that you need to even do it differently. I'm just sharing with you perspectives that maybe sometimes when we shift it, it changes the way we see things. And that helps us to bring in the life and the reality that is more pleasing to us and that is our preference.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
So I have a heartwarming story about meeting Jimi Hendrix's brother Leon Hendrix.
Oh my. Okay.
I have a super heartwarming story I can tell you now, or you guys can wait till next week.
Well, it depends on how long the story is. We got about a little over 4 minutes left. Do we need more than that?
Not really.
All right, then do it.
All right. this is a fun story. So I'm a rocker chick, totally, obviously.
Got that impression, yes.
Yeah. And so I went to go see Eric Clapton third row.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
3 years ago. It was so cool. I was at the Forum, backstage. So
Beautiful.
back then, I still smoked cigarettes. I don't anymore because I
Good for you.
got a little smart on that. I don't know what happened. Anyway,
Congratulations.
so I went to go sneak outside these doors where there is nobody because this is back there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one guy there. That's it. People are up above and they're walking and they're shooting pictures. I have no clue who this is. So I walk up. He's wearing these really cool clothes. I'm like, hey, we just start talking.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, oh, I'm Leon Hendrix. Oh, that's cool. Are you in a band?
I love it.
He's like, yeah. Which one? My own. Oh, what do you think? He's like, he looks at me and he smiles. My own stuff and some of my brothers.
Mm.
I said, oh, who's that? Now, if you saw a picture of him, you know I needed. So
you just didn't make the connection. That's all.
Oh, you're gonna literally. I'm glad you're sitting right now. He looks at me. He's like, Jimmy. It's all he said. And I looked at him and I took a step back. Jimmy Hendrix. Oh, no. I said, no shit. So I shook my head out and said, nice to meet you, Leon. What's up?
Yeah, right.
So cool outfit, by the way, man. Seriously, y'all have great taste. He did too. Right? So then we start talking, and then the conversation leads into talking about nature and about how nature is the original harmony of this planet. That each plant, each individual cellular structure on this earth has its own melody. That's what we call frequency. And he looks at me and goes, Jimmy used to talk just like that. He used to say just those things. And I'm over there going, cool, Jimmy, what's up?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Not realizing, not knowing that it was September 18th, the anniversary of his brother's death.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's nothing, dude. It gets better. It gets so good. Y'all are going to love this. It is the best, I guarantee you, if you don't have tears in your eyes by the time I'm done with this, there's something wrong with your heart. You need to get yourself in check. So, well, then we exchange numbers. Like there's something up like with this connection. I don't know at that time that this is the anniversary of his brother's passing, by the way.
Okay.
No clue. I'm just like, dude, it's cool. So I go home. I tell my friend. She's like, you did what? Where? Huh? And you realize what yesterday was? Because I was telling her the next day. I'm like, no, yesterday was Eric Clapton celebrating. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. She's like, it was the anniversary of Jimmy's death. I'm like, oh, cool. All right. Obviously, I know at this point something's up. So we stay in connection, Leon and I do, and then like a year later I go to see him play. When I go to see him play, I meet Keith St. John at that point, who's took over for Sammy in Montrose. Remember, you're rock candy baby, hot oh, okay, yeah, we love Montrose. So he was with Ronnie until anyway, that's another story. I'll tell you about Keith and everybody else another time. So Leon and I are talking, and he's got another gig coming, and he needs a sponsor for this event. Okay. Now, given what I do, I'm like, I know who's supposed to sponsor you instantly, and I keep hearing Josie Herndon, and I'm thinking, you want Addiction Therapeutic Services to sponsor this? What the heck? And I'm listening to Spirit going, what the heck? Huh? And then this I said, Josie, I know this is going to sound off the wall. But remember I was telling you about Leon, and I was telling you, she goes, yeah, and I said, I want you to sponsor an event coming up. She goes, Debbie, you want me to sponsor a rock concert where they have booze? Of a treatment center. I said, it's a direct hit. Just do it. She's like, that's what I told her. I'm like, direct hit, baby. Let's go. So we did do this. Wow. We're all there. It's over in Anaheim. So Leon comes walking in with his girlfriend, Jasmine. And I'm like, hey, Leon, what's up? He introduces me to Jasmine. I said, you guys, let me introduce you to your spotter, Josie Herndon. So Jasmine grabs me by the arm. She goes, Josie Herndon? Wait, she's here? And I stand back and go, you know Josie? And anyway, so they're friends. They're in the same dang field from Palm Springs, same area. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay. So anyway, so he winds up doing my rock and roll winter solstice, and then he does some recovery events and things like that because he's in recovery, and then he knows the buddies and right. It's just all a thing. Well, there's one more that just really is unbelievable. So here I am a couple years after that, or maybe a year after that. And I'm in Desert Hot Springs, and there's an event going on called the Bhakti Fest. So these guys show up from the Bhakti Fest, and there's this kid. He's not. Yeah, he's a kid because he's my son's age. His name is Joshua Hanna. Joshua Hanna has Humboldt CBD, Made of Human Health, and he's completely awesome. So Joshua and I start talking, and he tells me this story about when his dad died, Buddy Hanna, when he was 8 years old. And oh man, he's telling me how he could never forgive this murderer of his dad. And then he went on this bad ayahuasca trip, and he wrote like this article that got millions of views about the bad side of ayahuasca, even though there is, like he said, a good side of ayahuasca too. And then we went on to he went on to tell me about his dad, and then he forgave the murderer. He wrote when he was 28 years old, Walt.
Good for him.
He wrote a letter and sent it to the prison that the murderer was in.
Wow.
Now, we're sitting here on my phone, and I'm showing him the hip camp I just set up. And I'm showing him all the people that have came to visit me in the hip camp. And he points down and he goes, is that Leon Hendricks? And I said, my head's just rattled. I'm like, how do you even know who that is? And he sits back and he looks at me. He goes, really, Debbie, I'm serious. That's Leon Hendricks. And I said, the Leon Hendricks, yes. He said, that was my dad's best friend.
Oh my. Oh my. Wow.
It's so
Talk about synchronicities. Oh my.
So I sat back and I just went, so they've since met, and he got to hear all these stories about his dad. He never hear ever. I can't even tell this story freaking dry-eyed because it's just so good.
That's heartwarming. I mean, I understand how it affects you with the tears too, but for me, that just warms my heart up.
Right. Well, because that's a gratitude. These are gratitude. These are my gratitudes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have gratitude tears because.
But that's so fabulous though, because I mean, look at all the ways that the law of attraction, universe, brought stuff together completely unexpectedly, so that this guy could have a connection with somebody who is best friends with his dad. I mean, that's fabulous.
Yeah. And if
that's
you ever
wonderful.
It is beautiful. If you ever want to see, just go Josh Hanna, Debbie G, Spirituality Gone Wild, and you can find the interviews I've done with Josh. And you can also do the same with Leon Hendricks. Leon and I in a salt cave. That's a good one, where he's talking about where the song Purple Haze came from.
Really? Oh, I always wondered about that one. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out sometime.
Yeah, it's not about drugs, guys. It's not about drugs.
That's good to know, because at the time, that's exactly what I thought it was. When I was learning how to play the song the first time, I wondered about that, but this is good to know.
And if you guys are ever interested in any of the big live events I'll be doing, Leon, you could almost bet you Leon will be at one of my events with some way or somehow, and listening to his stories about astral travel and his spiritual awesomeness is such a fun experience, not to mention all the cool stories that you get to hear about Jimmy all the time. And I've got in this phone some great recordings that we've done that will be coming out.
Really cool. Well, this is going to be the conversation to be continued, but this has been good. Thank you for the stories, Debbie. Really, really happy that you were sharing them, and we're looking forward to next week. And by the way, make sure you download the LOA Today app. That's how you keep up to date, and send in stuff to us. If you can't be here to be part of the live stream, that's how you can get something into the conversation. So take advantage of doing that as well. Thank you again, Deb. We'll be seeing you next week. Thank you especially to our podcast listeners, without whom we wouldn't have a podcast. That's what's so cool about podcasts. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody. This is cool stuff.
Right.
It is. It's cool stuff.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Did you?
Absolutely fabulous.
I swear. I know. We're still live.
That's all right. I can move it.
Are we live? We're live.
We're